That's correct, Your Honor.
Okay, all right, who's going to make the opening statement on behalf of the plaintiff?
I will be, Your Honor.
Okay, and what's your name again, sir?
Zach Lustig.
All right, go ahead.
May it please the court,
Sure.
counsel, co-counsel, members of the jury. Follow the lies. Today you're going to hear about a woman named Elizabeth Ginger. She's a doctor who works at a clinic for patients without health insurance. And one day she decided to run for office. She put her name in for the mayoral election of the city of Truman, ran a good campaign against the incumbent, and on election day, March 17th, just a few weeks ago, she found out that she lost the election by 223 votes. Now, members of the jury, these things happen. People lose elections, close ones, and it's part of how our government works. The candidates will close up their office, give a concession speech, and go home, knowing that ultimately the people will have their chance to choose. But that's not what happened here. Throughout the course of today's trial, I want you to consider a series of statements, before, during, and after Election Day, that just aren't true. Because when you do, when you follow the lies, you'll see that they tie back to the mayor's office. They are the words of this defendant. March 1st. Phone calls start going out to registered voters. This is a reminder from the Election Commission. You must own a home to vote. Renters are not allowed. Election day, 8 a.m. Flyers go up at the polling place. Dropped out of college? You must have your diploma with you to vote. Otherwise, you should leave the line. 2 hours later, text messages go out to hundreds of registered voters. Update. The election's been extended to tomorrow. You can vote then instead. 5 p.m. A man, the same man who put up those flyers, sent those messages, and made those calls, comes back to the polling place. He tells everyone, I'm from the Election Commission. If you've ever been arrested, go home, or I'll fine you $5,000. But members of the jury, you'll see today that that man, he didn't start telling those lies all on his own. 2 weeks ago, February 28th, the mayor's campaign headquarters, 11:30 p.m. The man walks through the back door, rushed in by campaign staff, and after checking to make sure that no one is watching, they bring him to the mayor's office. The mayor sits him down, talks to him for 3 hours, gives him a handshake and a thick envelope, but then, March 20th, after the results are announced, the mayor's asked if she's ever met that man, shown a photo. That man? I've never seen him in my life. Now, members of the jury, the evidence will show today that that, too, was a lie. A former campaign worker for the mayor will tell you that what happened in Truman was a plan in the making for months, and that she saw the mayor meet with the man in the photo when the campaign fell behind in the polls. A forensic computer investigator will explain that that man's phone number was typed in as a contact onto the mayor's phone on the same date and at the same time as that meeting. And an eyewitness, a registered voter, will tell you that he got those fraudulent phone calls and text messages from that very same phone number. Now, because these witnesses will tie this plan back to City Hall, today we are pursuing a claim of election fraud against the defendant, the mayor of Truman. The law tells us that when a public official conspires to spread false information to registered voters, lies to them to prevent them from voting, well, that counts as fraud just as much as stuffing a ballot box. Specifically, we must prove by a preponderance of the evidence, more likely true than not, that the mayor, with help from others, distributed false information to poor, uneducated voters in District 12 in order to stop them from voting for her opponent. Members of the jury, I know this case is going to be complicated. It's going to have a lot of moving parts for you to listen for over the next few hours. And so as the first voice for the plaintiff, it's my job to ask you to narrow your focus, to consider the facts that no one in this courtroom will be able to deny, to follow the lies. I understand that this will be difficult. It's easy to want to believe in the system, easy to trust that the people we vote into office will want to use their power to stay there. But we don't come to a courtroom to do what's easy. We come to do what's right. Follow the lies. You'll find this defendant. And at the end of this trial, we'll ask you to find her liable. Thank you.
Thank you, counsel. On behalf of the defendant?
Yes, Your Honor. Your Honor,
Of course.
counsel, ladies and gentlemen, there's only so much that we can do for those people. They take from the system, and at some point, they just become leeches. Those weren't my words, ladies and gentlemen. They were the plaintiffs. And she said that about the people in Bellevue, District 12, just 1 week before Election Day. She wants you to believe that it's suspicious that those people didn't end up voting for her? Mr. Lesbader, he just got up here and he told you a very exciting story, one with conspiracies and corruption, but here's the problem. Sure, there was a man who was handing out flyers and making a couple of phone calls, and sure, the mayor knew that man. But the plaintiff isn't going to present any evidence today that the mayor instructed that man to do anything. And those couple of flyers and phone calls, they certainly didn't change the fact that the mayor was going to win this election. The people of Truman, they've already spoken, members of the jury, but Ms. Ginger just isn't listening. The real story is this. She lost touch, and so she lost. It's as simple as that. Today you'll hear that this was a 2-candidate race, and the whole way it was close. But Ms. Ginger, she relied heavily on one particular district in the city, District 12, called Bellevue. And Mayor Heisman, she recognized that. So she'll tell you that in the last 2 weeks before Election Day, she campaigned hard in Bellevue. Nothing illegal, just campaigning. She made no mistakes down the stretch. But on the contrary, members of the jury, what you'll hear is that Ms. Ginger did exactly the opposite. She just kept on making mistakes. She took Bellevue for granted. She focused all of her attention on the other 11 districts, stopped holding rallies, stopped holding events. She was recorded making that statement, trying to win favor in the other districts. And so on Election Day, despite her claims of conspiracies and corruption, the truth is that she only had herself to blame. She lost touch. So she lost. And because she lost today, Ms. Ginger is bringing a claim of election fraud against the mayor. Now, I want to be absolutely clear here. What she's asking you to do is to discard the vote of 150,000 residents in Truman and make her mayor. Just like that. And that is a big ask, ladies and gentlemen. What that means is that the plaintiff has to prove that the mayor intentionally and illegally spread false information to the residents in Truman. And they're not going to be able to prove that. In fact, the first witness that you'll hear from us today is Mayor Heisman herself. She didn't have to testify, but she wants to tell you for herself that she did nothing wrong. That's why as soon as these allegations were made, she opened her office to an independent auditor, to all of Ms. Ginger's investigators, and still they couldn't find anything conclusive. But the judge will instruct you that even if they do prove that the mayor was involved here, if we as the defense can prove that Ms. Ginger would have lost anyways, then it doesn't matter. You still can't find it in favor of the plaintiff. That's exactly what you're going to hear today, members of the jury. In fact, the plaintiff, they're not going to bring you a single witness who was actually dissuaded from voting by this alleged fraud. You'll hear from our second witness, Ms. Jody Sandberg, a reporter in Truman. The people she spoke to, they did not vote because of any fraud or phone calls. They didn't vote because Ms. Ginger lost touch. And finally, you'll hear from our last witness, Mr. Chase Michael, a statistical analyst. And what he's going to tell you is that the data, the numbers, they simply don't support any explanation where Ms. Ginger lost because of some sort of fraud. Instead, the story that the numbers tell is this. She lost touch, and so she lost. That's why at the end of today's trial, my colleague Daniel Stern will come before you, and he'll ask that you find the mayor not liable.